So,
Oh, you know what? Sorry, I've got to go.
well, it was nice seeing you,
Yeah.
Carol.
I'll try
At
again
the
another day.
very
Sorry.
beginning, maybe you'll come back and be able to introduce yourself and let us know.
Okay. Thank you.
Great to meet you, Carol.
Take
Thanks.
care. Good
You
luck.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, we are now recording the August 24th, 2018 Small Business Accounting Advisors.
Yay.
Hello.
Yay! Hello, everyone. We're missing some people that have been at Accountex. I was hoping they would come on today and tell us all about it, but they could still be traveling. They could
Probably have
still
too much fun.
they could still be in Boston doing vacation-y kind of fun stuff. So maybe we'll hear next week what's happening and how it went. So the big news, big news in the Intuit world is Brad Smith stepping down.
Yep. I know that he's had, I guess the right way to call it is a succession plan for a couple of years. They've been kind of putting it into place. So it's just kind of gone and it's been activated, but definitely a dynamic change and into it. Huge.
Well, you know, that by itself would be one thing, but the, is it Taylor? Let me see the name I have. Taylor Stansberry, Chief Product Development, is stepping down also. Yeah.
Really? And then David Leary on top
is
of that.
Leaving. So does this sound like somebody's having a different vision of how to go forward, product development wise?
Are they being acquired by anybody?
No, it does shine some light on things that I have personally been seeing with Intuit and feeling there's been a little bit of change of direction on such. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of it. But I trust that, you know, Intuit has gotten us this far. There's going to be some smart people steering the ship. So I'm
sure, but I think it is going to be a different direction. You know, they don't have they're farming out their what did they call that? I can't think of the name of it now. But they're changing now and using Amazon. Or is it Amazon or the Yahoo that they've just acquired?
In the web server? Oh, the web services?
The web services.
It has to be Yahoo. If they acquired it, it would have to be Yahoo, right?
Yeah, they would. Amazon would be too big, I would think.
AWS. What is AWS?
That's Amazon.
Amazon Web Service.
Okay, well, that's what Brad Smith was talking about in his interview, moving forward with AWS.
Oh, they're probably changing. Okay, so they could have been on a different web service in general, and they could be transitioning over.
Okay.
So ironically, there was a situation about 9 months, maybe a year ago, that Amazon Web Services went down, and I literally realized at that point in time, it's Amazon that makes the world go round because we didn't have access to about 6 of our different applications. They were gone, just nothing for a couple hours.
You ought to see all the Amazon construction in Seattle, which is where I live, about 20 miles. I mean, they've basically built up a second downtown in Seattle. If you look at the skyline over the last 3 or 4 years, it's just like these 35, 40-story buildings just popping up.
Wow.
I knew there's a reason I liked you, Dennis. I'm from Washington also, from Redmond.
Oh, okay. Yeah. When was the last time you saw downtown Seattle?
January.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's. I go down like maybe once or twice a year, and it's always kind of a shock to see all these new buildings.
It was first time in about 20 years for me, but it'll probably be a while before I go back again. But yeah. It is a beautiful, beautiful state. I just like more sun.
Yeah, we had quite a bit the last week, along with British Columbia smoke.
Yeah. I just heard that Pennsylvania gets more rain than Seattle. Seattle has more rainy days, but when Pennsylvania gets the rain, they get more of it.
Yeah, our summer is usually like July to, part of July to mid-September, and sometimes June is kind of problematic. Sometimes June is nice, but usually you can bank on July, August, and first part of September is being pretty decent.
Yeah, everybody talks about having 4 seasons. I mean, I know you guys like all 4 of them, but there's something very enjoyable about December being in shorts and t-shirts at the beach.
Yeah.
I have to agree. I have to agree. I mean, snow is pretty, but I want to go visit it and then come home and not have it to deal
I was
with.
kind of wondering with the change with Intuit if there's some sort of dynamic between desktop and online, if there's any kind of conflict with that. It seems like people are trying to keep them both.
Well, desktop users are diehards and they don't want to give it up, and I can totally understand why. Desktop and online are so very different, and if you have a group of people that are used to doing something and you're used to doing it in desktop, to transition over to online is a huge interruption in your business.
Well, especially if you look at the demographics of the desktop world, I don't think that many new people are going on the desktop, are they? Seems like it's people that have been with QuickBooks for the last maybe 5, 10, 15 years.
250,000 subscriptions every quarter are sold of desktop.
Does that count renewals, or are those new?
I don't know how to answer that for sure. Like, I don't know the churn rate, if they would say on that. It's new subscriptions. Definitely, there's the numbers for online are dramatically higher, of course. But I have a feeling that you're going to see a resurgence in QuickBooks Desktop. It's been something I've been predicting for the last 6 months. I think you'll see just a smaller resurgence. You're going to see that there's going to be some more money reinvested into desktop to appease people with it, but the focus will still be, continue to be on cloud technologies, of course.
Well, yeah, it's a lot more profitable to the company, I would imagine, with the subscriptions rather than somebody hanging on to their QuickBooks for 3 years till they're sort of strong arm until upgrading if they have payroll.
I expect desktop is going to go subscription based.
That's what I would expect too, maybe.
I think that you're right, Matt. I really expect that to happen. And when you really look at the price, the desktop price, you're just paying it all at once as opposed to paying monthly like you do online.
Yeah, but they don't.
Not so much with the Pro and the Essentials, more with the higher versions.
Right.
Enterprise Solutions, well, that's subscription too now these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
the big difference is that, like with desktop, even when I say this, I should put the disclaimer that we transitioned all of our clients to QuickBooks Online, and we love it. We believe in the functionality, and it's more than just the program itself. It's the app environment as well that really allow us to customize online to match the needs of our clients. But desktop, you pay that one-time price as an accountant, and we have the ability to handle multiple company files. So that is where you can end up having quite a substantial money savings on it.
Right.
But that's a compromise for the other technologies. So
right.
One of the things I find really frustrating with desktop is that my clients, like I have QBox for my tax clients, and invariably they change the freaking password and they don't tell me. And so I'm trying to do a tax return, and all of a sudden there's, they got to call the client and find out what the password is. And
I only have one thing to say to you, Dennis, about that. QBox.
I'm talking about QBox. They changed the password. I mean, QBox just doesn't do anything with the password.
it's the admin password, and the process just recently with the password reset for QuickBooks Desktop. I would like to put this in a very positive light, so I will just say it's frustrating.
Oh.
Well, I always make a new user for myself, even if I am doing QBox, only because I want to keep what I'm doing separate from what someone else may be doing.
Yeah. That's so smart. You really need that audit trail for everybody, every employee, always. We have one client, even QuickBooks Online, that she would get upset because there would be changes in the product list or things are here or there, and she would get a hold of us and she would always say, "Who made these changes? Who made these changes?" And I'd go in and look, and she would ask me again, "So who was it?" I'd say, "She who shall not be named."
Well, if everybody's the admin, then you don't have any kind of control over.
Yeah.
Right, right. That's why, you know, I actually do the external accountant. I do use that when I'm using the desktop.
So
And
that
with-
prevents when they change QuickBooks Desktop. That prevents you getting.
You always log on. You have your own user log on,
Okay.
and they can change the password as many times as they want, but you still can log on as your external accountant.
Hmm.
I had one project one time where they were using the external accountant, and the company, people in the company decided to undo the external accountant, of course, and start continuing to work, which is not advised. And they ended up having a corrupt file on top of that. So I had to literally go in and reconnect the two different pieces of the files to be back together as one full thing. It was interesting, a little bit of a challenge, but there was no way to get the old data and the new data because it was like a year's worth of stuff between the two. Crazy.
Wow. So I want to say hi to Sarah and Misha. Misha hasn't been with us for a while. Sarah, hello.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Hi, Misha.
Figured I'd pop in for just a little bit before 3 o'clock. I just wanted to see you guys.
Happy to see you. Were you at the Accountex?
No.
No, you didn't go this year. Misha, I think, was. I think Misha was because Chris, who was it? No, it was Intuit that gave a great shout out to Misha about a T-Sheets demo she did impromptu on the spot.
Ooh.
Yay, Misha.
Yeah.
Way to go.
And silence. No, I'm kidding.
Silence. She must not have her
She's doing
mic
a demo
on.
right now.
So.
So,
Yeah.
Sorry,
anybody hear from Sarah?
Wait, Misha, yes?
sorry, I was in the file room.
Oh, so you didn't hear what we had to say about you.
No, sorry, I was in the back.
You were at Accountex, killing it,
Yeah, I went in on Monday.
and giving
I'm in on
demos
Wednesday.
for T-Sheets, and Intuit shouting out to Misha saying what a great job you did.
Oh yeah, I met Gina and I was at their booth talking to her, and this gentleman was there and he asked a question about how to do something for one of his clients, and like he was trying to figure out a solution, and I was like, oh, you do it this way. Because it was T-sheets, so I use it, and I'm like, you can use T-sheets for. I'm like, you can use T-sheets for any way you want. You know what I mean? So I showed him. Showed him on my phone and everything like that. So that's what she was talking about.
Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yeah, I know. I've been MIA for a long time.
But you're back and smiling.
Sort of, kinda. I'm getting there. I'm only, you can make a fist. Ha-ha. So that's a good thing. But
How's it feeling?
it's feeling good. I might be released from from occupational therapy next Thursday.
Good.
So
Good.
it's been what, eight weeks?
So this is your right hand. Are you right-handed or left?
I am right-handed. Yeah, I had to have. My daughter came and stayed with me for 6 weeks because I couldn't do anything. And when I say I couldn't do anything, I mean I could not do anything on my own.
Oh.
It was ridiculous.
Oh.
So yeah, I couldn't drive. I couldn't do normal activities around the house, like use a knife, use a fork.
Things that you don't think about. Answer the phone.
No, well, actually, I did fell in love with Google Text to talk to text.
Okay, I have a question about that. Is there a way to actually tell it to go backwards to delete a mistake through the talk to text, or do you have to?
Oh, honey, no, I don't go back. Sorry. I don't do that.
It is.
I send stuff, I speak and I send, and then after the fact, I'm like, oh, that was a typo. I didn't mean for that to go. Then
I did that this morning. It was quite funny. I was saying good morning to somebody and it said, I didn't know my name. 9:30, had to postpone. I was like, what is that? I write back, oops, my phone is so silly. I'm so sorry. I was so embarrassed. I'm like, oh my God.
The secret to that is change your signature in any of your email stuff that says, pardon any errors. I use speech to text for all of my conversations. And that way it automatically gets added to the bottom and then gets you out of some of that.
You know what? Honestly, folk don't care. Folks don't care. I don't pay attention to that. I'm gonna call you out on what? What did you say?
Depends on what it changes to. Some things.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, at least I've actually started adding words to my dictionary.
I didn't want to go there.
I think, I was seriously tired of seeing duck come up every time I type something. I'm like, no, I'm adding. I know how to add. I'm going to add that in there. So now it's so it doesn't correct it when I put it in.
I love it.
You were saying truck, right?
I was trying to say truck, yeah, and duck kept coming up. Could you imagine? This is horrible.
My favorite is when you have stuff like in the Intuit community, they have the spell check, but it doesn't know how to spell QuickBooks.
That's hysterical. That is hysterical.
Wow. That's kind of serious. But yeah, Accountex was different. It wasn't a conference, basically. It was a business expo.
Wow. Wow.
Which is why it was free.
Got it.
So they didn't have breakout sessions?
So they basically charged the vendors of the yin yang, and everybody that participated, everybody came in who wanted to attended for free. And last year it was a true conference where they provided you breakfast, you checked in, there was, big speakers, and the sessions were separate from the exhibition hall, and you actually had a lot more sessions going on, but literally one floor, the exhibition hall, and then they sectioned it off, and they gave everybody, and I didn't bring my bag with me, they gave everybody a radio that you wore around your neck, and you had headphones. So when you go to the sessions, the speaker spoke into a mic, and you hear it and here. So the sound wasn't carrying because they weren't talking very loudly because they were the mic was right there. And they had 4 or 5 theaters going at once. And then just the main stage they had for the keynotes were, open to the whole thing. But,
interesting.
Yeah.
Are they having it next year?
I'm sorry?
Are they going to have one next year?
Yeah, same place. And I think they're doing the same format too.
So they must either really saved a lot of money to do it this way, I would
Well, it
imagine.
depends if you're a vendor or a participant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't like last year. We did a lot of networking. They had, I think, I left early because I wasn't feeling well, but they had a welcome party. And I think that was meant for people to network, for people to network. But it was weird because the whole day was literally like vendors wanting your information. I'm like, no, I don't want.
Well, was it primarily sales pitch, or did they basically reserve the sales pitch?
All sales pitch.
Was there any use? I mean, a lot of times people will be very subtle. They'll give you like 45 minutes of content, then the last 5 minutes is hard sell. But it was like,
they had demos. They had specific demos in the lab and the tech lab and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That were going on, like live demos and stuff. But
It's kind of a sales pitch in itself.
Yeah, so all the booths, literally, you want to enter their drawing for an iPad, you gotta stay and get a live demo, and they want to scan your badge, and so that they can capture your information and all of that stuff. And I mean, I guess that's what they're supposed to do.
Get the robocalls and all that.
It wasn't that peer-to-peer connection that we had last year. That was missing. Like, I honestly didn't meet anybody new this year.
Did Doug Sluter attend?
That's disappointing.
I don't know. I wasn't looking for him.
Oh,
So I went to the accounting and finance show both in New York and in Los Angeles. And it's interesting to hear how you're describing Accountex because it was somewhat the same concept of free admittance, and the vendors were the ones that were paying for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, as an accountant going or a person just going, I would rather pay a little bit. I don't need to pay tons, but I'd rather pay some and have food there. So I don't have to pay $4 for a soda, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And besides, like each of those days, I barely even ate because there was no food. So by the end of the day, I really wasn't paying much attention to what people were saying because I was too hungry.
And the way, honestly, though, I don't know if any of you guys have been to Boston. The Heinz Convention Center is huge. It's attached to the Prudential Center, and it was about a mile walk to get to like a real restaurant.
Wow. Wow.
And granted, it's all inside, but you have shops, like a mall. It's basically the Prudential Mall.
Right.
From where we were on the second floor, you had to come down to the first floor and then walk all the way and then to the other side of, it was a good mile to one of the restaurants that we ended up going to for lunch. And then you had to walk back, and sessions were like, they gave you like 10 minutes between sessions or 20 minutes between
So
sessions.
you would never be able to get lunch.
So it was like, lunch was, they gave us 2 hours for lunch, but like, if you wanted to run out and grab something, they did have food there, but I think it was the Heinz people that were selling it. And I didn't buy anything there, so I couldn't tell you what the pricing and stuff was for sodas and stuff like that. Some vendors did provide, some of the exhibitors did provide like coffee service for like us, between sessions, and like, complimentary coffee from blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that'll be a draw if there's nowhere else to get it.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could use one of those food delivery services. Like first you ask, hey, am I allowed to bring my own food in?
You know what? Listen, Dunkin' Donuts, I'm not Dunkin' Donuts, Domino's now has these mobile sites.
There you go.
Wherever you are, and they'll come and bring you a pizza.
We'll crash it next year, Misha. Me and you, and we'll order.
I know, right?
Well, let's go be a vendor.
And everybody will be salivating all around us.
I say we get a vendor booth, and what we do is we sell Wi-Fi and we sell pizza.
I know, that would be like, you would make a little something. And one side of the building, like the exhibition hall is huge. One side was an ice box, and the other side was a sauna.
Wow.
Like Chris, because I met it with Chris Wise and Sarah, Sarah at the booth that they share, and I'm standing there talking to Chris. All of a sudden, Chris hands me like all this tissue. I'm like, what's this for? He's like, you need to take care of that. I was standing still. I was not moving. I wasn't doing anything other than talking to Sarah.
Wow.
The sweat was just like running down my face. What is going on? I was over in the theater doing a session, and I was so friggin' cold that my teeth were chattering.
And then you go out.
And then I walk from there all the way across, and it is hot. It's like crazy. But it was different. I wasn't expecting, it to be like, I was expecting more networking of other people.
What we were used to getting from the Slater conferences is what you were used to.
Yeah, that's done.
How was the show for Sarah? How was it going for her Q-Ox?
Oh, Sarah said, when I spoke with her on Wednesday, she said that she was doing really well. So, and then of course Chris says he'll know depending on what kind of swag he has left. But it was nice to finally meet him in person and stuff.
Oh,
like
nice.
And Sarah was there last year too, so we were comparing the different. And I spoke with Joanne as well, because she presented again this year. And
awesome.
She said she went to Accountex in Manchester and in London, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that they had moved to this model over there, and she was like, she thought she when she got here, she realized they switched it to this new model and stuff like that too. So Interesting.
Okay, times are a-changing.
I know.
So we're going to switch subjects. The last subject we're going to talk about today is working from home versus co-ops versus office. This was a subject Matt wanted to talk about because you've gone from working from home to working to an office.
Yep. It's this year, Parkway grew to the point where we realized we needed to, instead of having 2 home offices, my business partner and I, we actually got an office space, which ironically, part of the office space we got set up is in the middle of doing like a co-op. We actually have our own office, but we wanted to be in the actual, in like this startup environment, trying to grow our business into that niche more. So we can help other people that are trying to mature their business or take their ideas and make something of it. We're hoping to be able to help on that side of it. I'd say the biggest impact, the biggest difference that I've seen from the two, we now of course have clients coming to see us sitting in our conference room instead of us going to their place of business to go meet with them. And I miss parts of that. We can still do it, but their level of attention is just amazingly different. So when we would go visit them, it would be hard to keep their attention. We would not be able to get as much work done because it almost seemed like it wasn't.
Oh, absolutely. Phones are ringing. People are interrupting them. Fires need to be put out, where when they're at your place, they're kind of isolated from that. They have no choice but to focus on you.
Ironically, the big talk nowadays is value pricing. Everybody's always talking about value pricing. That's one of those steps that we made that's helping us make that transition, because it makes people value our time so much differently. It just makes it seem more serious, I guess. So we got very lucky to find a great building here in Camarillo, which is Ventura County, California. And we're part of what's known as the Faros Center for Innovation. It's an awesome collaborative here in town that we're trying to help bring up the knowledge of local entrepreneurs. We've got in our building the SBDC, Small Business Development Center, the SBAA for SBA loans, EDC, and a whole bunch of other organizations of different letters and such that all bring resources for different small business owners into one environment. So I was really excited about that capability, just even for our existing clients. I mean,
nice.
A lot.
Nice.
I
Well,
recommend it.
Still working at home, and I've joined a co-op, a work co-op, for those times when I need to see clients and have a conference room.
Yeah.
So that is really nice for me to be able to schedule time at a conference room. And when I go into the co-op, it's set up so the conference room is private. The conference room does have glass walls. You can see what's happening in there, but you can't hear. Once you close the door, the meeting is private. So, we need that. We don't need to be announcing everything and our clients' confidential information all over the place.
Well, one thing I found was I started from home, moved to an office because I bought part of a practice from someone who had a home office that was really, isolated. And so I got a place where people they were used to going to a place. But what I found was that I was not, they were just dropping off their tax returns. They weren't really come to meet me for appointments. But the one thing I found is that when you work from home, I was in the corporate world for about 25 years or so. And I found when you're in the corporate world, you're really focused, and life is like office is office and personal life is personal life. But when you're working from home, it's like you're constantly roller coastering from, being focused, and sometimes it's good, sometimes not so good. But it gives you a lot more freedom. But you just have to kind of pick your spots where you're going to be focused. It's not,
Right. And like Matt said, I think it is about focus, because when you are working at home, every friend that you have that works the 9 to 5, they have a day off, they're calling you. Let's go play. Now, sometimes that's fun and great, but if you've got a 5-day work week and 4 days out of that 5, someone's calling and saying, let's go play, it doesn't work.
Well, I've got like an autistic child. He's like 18 now, but you have a little more flexibility. Like I could go to his basketball games, I could go to his soccer, and then, work at night.
But you could still do that and have an office too. When you work for yourself, you have the ability to
if you have your own office,
make your own hours. So whether you're in an office or whether you're at home.
Yeah, assuming your office is fairly close by,
Right.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier. Of one of the biggest benefits. Owning my own business now I love it. It's been the most challenging and the most rewarding job I've ever had. I've always managed businesses before. I work more now than I ever have before. I personally need to work on that work-life balance quite a bit. But the beauty of it is I have the ability to make the decision if I want to take a longer lunch, or if I want to work from home, or if I want to take a week off, or if I want to rent a motorhome and do everything from there, because I do everything online, I can as much as I want.
Well, I have a client that says the nice thing about being self-employed is part-time, but you get to pick which 50% of the day you get to work.
Absolutely. Well, I do think.
In my case, I've been working from home from 2011 until 2015. And I would go to clients. I would meet clients wherever. I would go to their house. I was doing all that. I found I spent more time sitting in Boston traffic than I did actually meeting with my clients.
In
addition to that, I also take care of my elderly mom. So I'm her 100% all the time, 24-hour caregiver. So if I'm stuck in traffic and she calls and she's like, I need you, I'm stuck in traffic, there's not much I can do. So on a whim, it wasn't something I pre-planned. I said, let me just, bye Sarah. I didn't say, let me just think it through and have a plan and I said one day, I said, you know what, let me just start looking at places. I didn't intend to rent. I didn't intend to do anything. Again, just to see what was out there. This was September, I made that decision. I signed a lease October 15th. I found a building a mile from my house.
Perfect.
That has been here since I've lived in this town, and I drove past it every day. I was like, wait, this is right here? Like, I could actually walk.
Nice.
So it was, and I put these like crazy expectations of the things that I needed to have. I needed to have a private office, a space, big space for a conference room, off-street parking, it had to have this and it had to have that and it had to have like parking and I'm like, okay, this isn't going to happen because my expectations are just through the roof. And of course, and one of the main things I had to have was I needed to be less than 3 minutes from my house because I needed to be able to get home quickly.
And you've got that.
I got 2.5 minute drive. And that's if I have traffic. If I'm on an emergency, I can make it in 60 seconds flat.
Nice.
So again, but I also needed to hire somebody and I was starting to expand and do a lot of other things and I needed the space. And I couldn't sit in traffic anymore. So, and I needed to be able to be close to home for mom. So now people need to come to me because I'm not going to anybody. But it's a lot different. But I still have that same flexibility where, for example, today I was supposed to be at the conference, but I didn't go and I was home. I have my laptop, I remote connect in. If I only needed to come in because I had a client I need to do a video conference with. I have doctor's appointment in the middle of the day. I can just leave, come back. I work till 10. I work till whenever, so.
Right. When you're the owner, you can do that.
Exactly. And the good thing is that I have the capability of working from home, especially when we have our winters here in Massachusetts. If it snows and power goes out or the lights go out or Comcast goes down, I can't do anything anyway.
Right.
So, but at least I know if there's a snowstorm, if we get like 3 or 4 inches, I can still, drive over and work.
Do something, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. That's why I have a co-op. I have certain things like to put me in focus to do work. Like in the morning, I get up and I take care of my little dog and my cats and that kind of thing. And then if it gets to be 9 o'clock and I'm still sitting in front of the TV, time to stop that. I turn on music. I actually listen to music on Comcast. And I'll leave that, I'll leave that on in the background. And that's my way of saying, okay, time to go to the office, my office in my house, and start focusing on work. But then I also have the co-op for when I need to meet people. I can go there, and we have the conference room. It's also good for me because my electric goes out and I need a secure place to have internet.
How far is your co-op from your house?
About 15 minutes away.
That's not bad.
So it's not really awful. I mean, it's nice. It's nice to be able to go there in an emergency if I don't have electric. Of course, if we do have 12 inches of snow, that's a day off. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm not driving even 10 minutes in that to go anywhere.
So I don't want you guys to think about me the next time you have 12 inches of snow. Don't think about me in California nice and warm at all, okay?
But do you worry about earthquakes? Like I kind of worry about earthquakes up here.
I thought I started the 1989 earthquake in San Francisco. So I lived in Half Moon Bay at the time, which is like right between Santa Cruz and San Francisco. And a friend of mine I was a little kid, had gotten a slingshot. So we went up to the park and he's shooting rocks with the slingshot. And I kid you not, I get my chance to use a slingshot. And the first time I use it, the moment that rock hit the ground, the earth started shaking. We went, then we're like, it's an earthquake!
I didn't mean to.
Wow.
It was funny.
That's awesome.
I don't know if I told the story. I was
Go
I was
ahead.
in the Seattle 1965 earthquake. I was like in 9th grade. And I was in wood shop, and the teacher was right by the door, on the machine cutting wood. And all of a sudden, the floor just started shaking. He runs out the door, and we all kind of stampede after him. And we get back, and he says, "Class, I'm disappointed in you. You guys panicked." And he was the first one out the freaking door.
And you guys either followed him or not. Wow. Some protector he was.
Yeah, right. Good example.
Compared to like Linda, my good buddy Linda in Florida, they have to deal with a hurricane season. Like, forget that. I'll take the occasional earthquake.
Yeah.
On that note, we're going to end our show this week. We may or may not have a show next week. Depends on what happens. I have no control over it. I will be at my Work Together co-op place. They will be shooting a movie that day. So if I'm able to, I will come on. If not, I'm in the middle of a scene. So
Well, maybe you could demonstrate how to do video conferencing on the video.
It depends on what's happening. I'm not the main person in the show.
Oh,
I'm an extra.
okay.
So it depends on what they want me to do.
Do they have like paid actors or doing it?
No, I'm an extra.
No, but I mean, are they hiring?
Yes.
So it's not just real people. It's paid.
Yeah.
It's
I'll tell you. When I find out more information.
okay.
You do more appearances in that stuff than I do, and I'm closer to Hollywood, so you're doing something right. So good job. Thank you, guys.
Good talking to you.